Hi everybody, happy Monday. Hopefully you had a really good weekend. So today we're going to start chapter 5, which is statistical reasoning, because we just finished chapter 3 and 4 trigonometry last week with our test. So today we're going to start chapter 5, statistical reasoning. And today specifically we're going to do 5.1, which is exploring data. Okay, now some of this might look familiar to some of you, which will be great. So our first example is suppose these numbers represent a set of marks for a math test. So write out these numbers on your sheet of paper, okay? And they're marks from a math test. So the first thing we're going to calculate with those numbers is the mean. So mean is a measure of central tendency determined by dividing the sum of all the values in a data set by the number of values in the set, which is the average. That's a more common term. Okay, so the mean here has this really funky looking formula. Okay, so it's mu equals the summation of x divided by n. So mu is just what the mean equals, and that's the summation. So we add up all of the data. So this means we add up all the x's. So we're going to add up 97, 77, 68, and so on. Okay, so we add all of that up, and then we're going to divide by how many numbers there are. So you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay, so you need to write out, and when you add all of this up, hopefully you get 1024, and then how many numbers there are 14. Okay, so now you have to divide. So you do 1024 divided by 14, and in your calculator you should get 73.1. Okay, so then the next thing we need to calculate, or we can calculate, is the median. So this is a measure of central tendency represented by the middle value of an ordered data set. So if the data has more than one middle value, the median is the mean of the two. So this happens if there's an even number of items in our data. So at this time, it's really important that you write out the numbers in order from least to greatest. Okay, because the median, we need to know the middle number. So you write them all out least to greatest. And when you do this, you should see that the middle numbers, so there's the same amount of numbers on the left than the right, and that is 77 and 78. Okay, that's our middle numbers. So see how there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the right, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the left, right? So we know that because this is an even amount of items in the data set, there's going to be 2. Okay, so when it said when there's 2, we have to take the median. So the mean, or we have to take the mean of the 2. So just like above, we add those two numbers, so 77 and 78, and divide it by how many numbers? So 2. And our answer is 77.5. Okay? Now we have the mode. So this is a measure of central tendency represented by the value that occurs the most often in a data set. So looking at your set of numbers, so this is helpful to look at the one in order. Okay, you need to know which ones are represented there the most often. So which one occurs the most? So when you look through this, you can see that 77 is there twice and 84 is there twice. So those are our modes, okay, because they are represented there the most often. All right, so just another set of, these are our numbers that you already have written down. And the next thing we're going to calculate is the range. So that's the distance between the maximum value and the minimum value in a data set. So again, it's really good for this time to have them written out from least to greatest. So then you can do 97, which is our max, and 27 is our min, and subtract those. So 97 subtract 23 is 74. Okay, that's our range. So divide the greatest by the least. And one last thing for these data sets is we need to see if there's an outlier. So that's a value in a data set that is very different from the other values in the set. So are there any outliers in this data? So what I look for is look for a number that looks out of place. It doesn't fall like in a typical order of the rest of the numbers. So when you look at these numbers, the majority of them are quite large, right? They're high, they're close to 100. But keep looking through, right? 94, 77, 90, 78, 84, 86. Oh, and then 23. Now, does 23 look like a similar number to the rest of the data? Not really, right? So 23, the next piece of data is 56, or 58, sorry, and that's really far away. So our outlier in this data set is 23, okay? All right, example number 2. So this is a second test. Now you guys try this one. Write out these numbers and again, calculate all those things, okay? So your first thing you're going to calculate is the mean, right? Then do the median, then the mode, then the range, then the outliers, okay? So calculate those, write out these numbers, and try your best to see what you guys can get. So our mean, right, we get that by adding all of our data up. So you add all these numbers and divide by how many numbers there are. So hopefully you got 947 divided by 13. So our mean is 72.8. Then we have a median. So for a median, right, it's really important to write out all the numbers from least to greatest. So so we would see that 73 is our median when you write it all out, right? So that's the middle number. Then the mode. So which number here is there the most often? So when you look, hopefully you see that 68 is there the most often. Then you have the range. So 92 subtract 57, right? So our max subtract our min is 35. Okay, and one last thing, outliers. So hopefully you can, if there's a number there that looks a little strange. So outliers, there's none, right? All of them look relatively close together in an order, right? An outlier for this would be like anything less than like 40 or 30, right? Or if there was hundreds, those would be outliers. So on which test do you feel the class performed better and why? Right? So we have all this information, so we know our average, we know the middle number, we know which number was there the most, our range. So which test, so test 1 with the first set of numbers and test 2, which one do you think they did better on? So test 1, okay, because it had the highest mean, so the highest average and the highest median, okay? All right, so hopefully we understand what I was trying to go through there. So now if you could go to page 211 in your books and do number 2, okay, and try out those questions. Remember that the answers are in the back of the book, so check to make sure you're on the right track. And once you finish this, there's also a worksheet to complete today. Okay, if you don't get it all done, it's for homework. Have a great day.